when he made those arguments, and he did it in his calm demeanor, he was able to win over, maybe not the radicals that were there to scream at him, but the people who went in there with an open mind, the people who went in there wanting to find out more. Those people heard those arguments. I truly credit Charlie with changing the minds and the mindset of so many millions of Americans, not just youth.
Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA rallies drew tens of thousands of young voters with a cross-platform message that changed politics as we know it. For more on Kirk's impact on American politics, let's bring in North Carolina Congressman and pastor Mark Harris. Congressman, welcome.
Hey, Mike, it's great to be with you today.
So what is your assessment of Charlie Kirk's impact, and what's been the reaction back home in North Carolina?
Well, I think when you look at Charlie's impact, I mean, it's right now really even beyond words, because I think we just keep seeing and hearing more and more of the impact that he made. Listen, I've said it over the last couple of days that probably more than any American on the right or the left, Charlie really set out to bridge the divide. And what was so ironic in what took place is he was bridging that divide with words and speaking on issues rather than violence. And yet such a violent act to take him out. And so, no, listen, people back home, after all of this happened, I think we're all have been in shock. I know over those first days, right after it occurred, all of us in Washington were truly in shock and without words. I got back late Thursday night. I opened up yesterday morning at a prayer vigil at a Christian school that I was invited to come and lead concerning Charlie and praying for Erika and their family. And then throughout the day, it just came up over and over again, and then closed out last night at a large men's event. All of these things have been pre-planned, but they just sort of turned in to a special time of prayer with prayer vigils across the nation. And it's happening in my 8th district in North Carolina for sure.
Lifting up Charlie's family and the nation at this critical time in prayer. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling for changing the way we debate issues. Let's play her, and I'll get you to react.
This is a subject near and dear to my heart because our home was invaded by someone who was out to get me, got my husband, and it's a tragedy for our family and traumatic for our children. But we just have to change the rhetorical nature of our debate.
Will we lower the temperature in American politics now, Congressman?
Well, I'm glad to hear Nancy Pelosi say that, because the reality is it's been so many of her colleagues on the left that have been calling for just crazy action. I mean, when we've seen colleagues that get and say that if you see these people, you need to get in their face. If you see these people, you need to run them out of the restaurant. All of that was critically dangerous. And now we're seeing the fruits of that. So I'm certainly glad to hear the word that we need to turn the temperature down. And I think what you need to do is look at what Charlie was doing. Charlie was reintroducing civil discourse here in this country. And young people were being attracted to it, as you noted, by the thousands, tens of thousands that were attending these rallies. And I do think that it's a very important point that has to be made, that we've got to get back to civil discourse once again, knowing that we can disagree. Charlie modeled that in every way, and I'm very grateful for him. One of the challenges that I left with the young people yesterday, and even with the men's event last night, somebody's going to have to fill Charlie's shoes. They're big shoes to fill. But I believe God raised up Charlie Kirk for such a time as this, and I believe he's going to raise up someone that will be able to continue to carry on. His wife, Erika, has been absolutely unbelievable in her response and her poise and her leadership. And I have no doubt that she's going to keep things moving forward.
We've seen political violence against lawmakers. Steve Scalise nearly lost his life. Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, are you worried about your security? Will you make changes going forward?
Well, you know, I've reminded folks all along that we don't have, according to 2 Timothy, are not being given a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And I don't think we need to turn back. I think we don't need to go silent. That's exactly what the terrorists want us to do. That's what this shooter wanted to do, was to silence Charlie. I think if anything else, we're going to continue to speak. We're going to continue to do events. We're going to continue to spread the word. And I think that if anything, What I'm seeing over these last 2 days is back here in our community, folks are being awakened in a good way to continue to speak. You know, when violence breaks out, all of us have got to be willing to step up. And in Charlie Kirk's case, people have responded the way that we need to be responding, and that is turning to the Lord in prayer and also turning to each other to make sure that we support and encourage that we continue on.
Congressman Mark Harris, thank you for sharing that wisdom with us.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.